around, look, flipping up to the end zone. Kelsey down there, what a contact! Incomplete, no flag!
I mean, it is what it is, man. I mean, obviously the guy was probably a little early, but at the end of the game, they're letting guys play. I'm kind of about that. I rather you let the guys play and let the guys win it on the field. But it's hard. It's a hard job, man. So it's not. When we're in that situation, I can't be wanting a flag. I have to try to go out there and win the game myself and with the rest of my teammates.
So, hey, if you don't know, my name is Keith, so I do Black Quarterback Series, and today we got another episode of Black Quarterback Series, and we're going to start off with Jordan Love actually kind of putting on a show at his crib in Lambeau. Jordan Love was 25 for 36, 267 yards and 3 touchdowns. Now, I said last week about Love, if you guys listened to that video, a link will be at the end. If y'all had a chance to look at that video, I also said that Love was getting it together, and I'm sure if you asked him, the game is kind of slowing down for him, and he's probably trying to figure out. He's figuring out the NFL. LaFleur and them guys came up with a really good game plan, and they were able to beat the Super Bowl champs. Like, we're going to talk about Kansas City, and we're definitely going to get into Kansas City, but I want to give Green Bay the love they deserve. Yes, we're going to talk about Kansas City and all their deficiencies and all that, but I think Jordan Love and them guys need to get the credit they deserve because they went out and won this game. Kansas City had it coming. They were coming towards the end where they kind of got it rolling a little bit, but Green Bay said no. So they played it looked like it was a good game plan. From start to finish, whenever they were a little flustered or ruffled, Jordan Love sat them down and he did what he had to do. Like, now, am I thinking Jordan Love going to be Aaron Rodgers? No, I don't think it's going to be Aaron Rodgers, but these last 4 or 5 games, we've seen him kind of get the reins and what you expect from a rookie, which I said last week, he is a rookie pretty much. So good to see Jordan Love is finally figuring it out, and this might be the start of something special. Now we can talk about Pat and all the deficiencies that they got. So I said this maybe a couple weeks ago. I'm sure I've said it at some point. They miss Eric Bieniemy. I was talking to a friend earlier, and he made a really good point where he was like, Eric Bieniemy was the one that got in Pat's face and told Pat that BS that you doing is not going to work. And he crafted that offense with Andy Reid's help, and they became a dominant force. We've not seen that offense this year. None of it. You know, they went those weeks without scoring in the second half, and Kelsey didn't look right, and was Kelsey thinking about retirement, and was he more invested in other stuff? And Pat Mahomes, while still being the best quarterback in the game, has not looked as dominant as he normally looked. Just last year, if I would have seen something like that, I don't know, Pat gonna win. They're gonna win. They're gonna win. He got the ball with like a minute or so, 2 minutes left. Oh, they're gonna win. I'm not worried about it at all. I could have went to bed and been very sure that they were going to win that game, but that just ain't what happened. That's not what's happening now. I don't know if it's offensive line problems. More or less, I think that it's just they're not really good on offense. Pacheco had a good game. Don't get me wrong. His last name is Rice. He's a good rookie, but like for the most part, they don't have that Tyreek Hill or they just don't have that guy right now. So I don't know what they're going to do, but they need to figure it out because if Jacksonville keeps winning and Baltimore keeps winning, they might look up and actually have to play a road playoff game. And Pat has never played a road playoff game. I'm sure Nick will come on TV today and make some BS excuse as to why and blah, blah, blah. They defense also didn't play well. Like it goes back to what I said about Green Bay. Green Bay had a great game plan today from start to finish. Well, yesterday. Really, really good game plan. I didn't realize that they were going to play that well. And this is the first chance of a lot of people actually being able to sit down and watch Green Bay. Nobody's watching Green Bay right now. Don't nobody know what's in Green Bay. And they've been bad for most of the year. But these last 4 or 5 games, they're kind of turning it around. Now, I don't think they're going to make the playoffs just based off the fact of their division. But can they knock some people off and keep them into the playoffs? I think so. So, also, as far as Kansas City, their defense didn't play well yesterday as well. Normally, you've been able to lean on Kansas City's defense this year and to get you out of some bad spots and make some big plays, but it was Green Bay's defense that was doing all that. Now, injuries and ejections and all that stuff. Maybe that's why, but didn't play well today. They just didn't play well today. And we're going to get to the pass interference and the roughing the passer call. When we talk about the Eagles today, when we talk about Jalen took the same hit that our guy Pat took today, and they didn't call it. Almost identical, the same hit. Even Justin Herbert took that hit. They didn't call it. And Pat does it, and they call it. Like, that's the type of stuff that make you think it's something more than what it actually is. You know what I mean? So if you're going to call it, call it. Call it for everybody. But if you're not going to call it, don't call it. Just don't call it. Like, it's very frustrating to see that call not being refereed correctly. And the roughing the passer, nobody's going to call that in the fourth quarter. They didn't do it in the Super Bowl. They definitely not going to call it when the whole world's watching. So people can cry if they want to, but nobody's making that call. And it didn't look like it was that much anyway. Like I showed at the beginning, I'm sure if I showed it at the beginning, Pat was not tripping off that. He even said they're not going to call it. They're never going to call that. So you got to go out and win the game. Like, some of the best stuff that I've heard from a coach, don't leave the game up to the referees. Because if you leave the game up to the referees, you're not going to win. It's just as simple as that. Good primetime game. I saw a lot from both teams. And we might have to start being honest about Kansas City as far as the championship contender. Like, can they beat Baltimore in Baltimore? Can they beat Justin Herbert? Not Justin Herbert. Can they beat Jacksonville in Jacksonville? These are questions we're going to start asking about the Kansas City Chiefs. Because if they don't get the first seed and they got to go on the road, it's going to get real scary for them. Now, I don't know if they're going to get it. It depends on if Baltimore actually comes out like gangbusters next week. So, guess we'll see. And, yeah, good game. So we're going to get to the best game of the week to me. CJ Stroud versus Russell Wilson. CJ was 16 for 27, 274 yards, a touchdown. Russell Wilson, 16 for 26, 186 yards, a touchdown, and 3 very critical interceptions. And those interceptions is what shifted the game. All 3 interceptions could have possibly been scores. Almost all 3 of them. So you give Denver those 3 interceptions as touchdowns, this game looks a lot differently. And so I put a lot of this game on Russ. Now, granted, the defense didn't play very well at all. They almost got virtually no pressure for the most part. CJ was able to just stand in the pocket and make great reads. There's no reason Russ and the guys should have lost this game because it was there for the taking. But CJ Stroud, Nico Collins, D'Amico Ryan's defense, who played another masterful performance by Will Anderson, D'Amico, and that defense. Just the defense is just spectacular, man. Future Keys is going to look up the defensive ranks that this team has, because every time I watch them, aside from the one game, I can't remember who they played. It might have been Jacksonville the second time. Aside from that game, this defense has been special. This is special. Will Anderson looks really good. It's rare that you hit on 1 and 3. They hit on their first pick and their third pick that they got from another team. So it's beautiful what they're doing down there. Now, I had no idea of this. I just liked D'Amico, and I said they was going to make the playoffs. But to be, I think they're 8-5 or 7-5. To be that far above 500, I couldn't imagine that. Tank Davis, I don't think his name is Davis. I'm going to have to look. If I said his name, I'm sorry. But I know his last name is Tank. He's out for the season with a fractured fibula, if I'm not mistaken. Obviously, it's going to be up on the screen for you guys. That is a major loss for them. But when Nico Collins is doing what he's doing, his numbers will be on the screen as well. You'll be fine. I think you'll be fine. Like, I never thought they were title contenders, but I do think that they might be able to upset somebody if they get to that wild card. And who knows? The division is still intact. It's still in play. If they get the division, they're going to be tough out. They're going to be a tough out, whoever comes to their building. But as far as Russell Wilson and them guys in Denver, it looks good. This type of loss I wouldn't say kills momentum, but it's going to make it a little harder to get into the playoffs. You're going to need some help. I think the Waldens who own Denver, I think they look at this like, okay, we see something. We see something. If we can keep winning, and end the season maybe 1-2 games above 500, we have momentum going into the offseason, and we can finish this contract out with Russ as we look to the future. So they're just trying to stay above water and not look bad because they were dead in the water after that 70-point game. So I don't think neither team is a title contender, but this game was great. And it was huge for playoff seeding. It was absolutely huge for playoff seeding, and they played like it. So really, really good game. We're going to finish out with Philly, so we're going to do the next 2 games real quick. But before we do that, we're going to talk about the Thursday night game. I recorded that video already. I'm going to put it right here. Hey, so we got Thursday night football. So real quick, Geno Smith, it's funny Geno Smith had this type of game when I was telling you guys this week, if you didn't check the video, link could be at the end. I said, what should the Seahawks do? Because Geno is not going to take you to the places that you need to be taken to. And this game proves Geno is not going to take you to the places that you need to be taken to. Now, I know Geno he got hawked all fourth quarter. So, like, I get that a lot of that is not his fault. But as an elite guy, you got to make it work. You know what I mean? And he's definitely not that. But when you got a 40-year-old tackle, it's kind of hard to win, you know what I mean? So I get it. But even then, I still don't think Geno is elite enough to take you to the places that you need to be taken to. Because that proved tonight that he can beat a good team. That Seahawks team is not a bad team. That Seahawks team is a really, really, really good team. And they will be on the playoffs. Don't be surprised if this is the wild card matchup. And so Dak played elite football tonight. He was the best quarterback on the field. And Dallas proved they can beat a good team. Good game by Dallas. It was some calls there were a little shaky, but you playing in Dallas, what you expect, you know what I mean? But that defense is not as good as we think it is. They let Geno Smith carve them up. And if it wasn't for some injuries on the offensive line, this game might go a little differently. So that's really all I got for the game. Enjoy the rest of your night. And so we're going to move on to Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray was 13 for 23, 145 yards, touchdown. But James Conner was really the big deal after the 100 trillion weather delays that happened in this game after they finally got into it. And Pittsburgh just didn't have an offense as usual. Their offense is still bad, even with Matt Canada gone. So the game was never close. It looked like Pittsburgh just didn't want to come. Pittsburgh was ready to go home. From what I watched, the condensed version that I watched, it just looked like Pittsburgh was ready to go home. So, so Kyler Murray runs through them. Connor has a great game. 25 carries, 125 yards, 2 touchdowns, and they end up winning. They win in convincing fashion, which is not good for them, but it's good for Kyler. So it looks like they're going to Kyler Murray route, which is the route I said they should go in the first place because Kyler Murray is excellent when he's healthy. The Panthers didn't watch a second of this game. They lost as usual, no talent. 15 for 31, 170 yards and interception. Go save Bryce Young. Somebody please go save Bryce Young because he needs a good coach. EB should be in contention for that head coaching job. If EB could get that head coaching job, it's going to be real nasty in the NFC South for a while. So, Panthers hire EB. And so the last game before I get into some other stuff that happened this weekend, Philadelphia played with fire and they finally got Jalen was 26 for 45, 298 yards, a touchdown, 7 carries, 20 yards, a touchdown. AJ was excellent, 114 yards receiving on 8 receptions. So you play with your fire and you get burnt. You did all that talking and back and forth. Security get into it with players. It was a wild game. And I said on Facebook that we've unlocked a new rivalry. I'm not happy that they blew them out, but I am happy that 49ers won. So now it's going to be some real angst or like animosity towards each other next time they play, and I love it. Brock Purdy was good. But the main event here is Jalen Hurts and that knee, or Jalen Hurts and his concussion protocol, or Jalen Hurts and all these things that he's going through right now. Is he healthy? Now, granted, you're 10-2, but next week game is literally for the division. You play Dallas next week. You play the Dallas Cowboys next week, when Dallas is coming off a good, excellent game on Thursday night the week before. So Dallas is going to come in with some fire because they think everybody's disrespecting them. It's going to be great to see a really, really good game. Whoever wins this game is going to win the NFC East, and I think we all know that. But Philly can't keep playing with their food. Now, the 49ers look like the best team in the conference, but the 49ers can definitely be got. It's not going to be easy to beat the 49ers because they have their Avengers over there, but if you can make it a little hard for them and make the 49ers one-dimensional, I think you could beat them. I think they can be had. So it remains to be seen. The biggest game of the year and probably the best game of the year, and if I have a chance, I might live stream it. The 49ers play Baltimore on Christmas. What a Christmas present for the NFL. Hopefully that game lives up to its standard. So Philly, you kind of take this game, you throw it away. There's nothing we can take from this game. You go back to the drawing board and figure out what you're going to do and get ready for Dallas, because at this point, that's all that matters for y'all. So the 49ers are nothing to be messed with, but I think they can be got. Philly just needs to get it together. I think they'll be fine. They're only 10-2. And so at the end, I wanted to throw some stuff out here for as far as Baltimore. So Baltimore didn't play this week, but they probably had one of the biggest weeks. Cleveland lost, Pittsburgh lost, and KC lost, which puts them firmly square in the top of the division or in the top of the conference. And I talked about it earlier. If Baltimore could keep winning, let's say Baltimore wins 3 of their next 4 games, I think Baltimore gets the first seed. And then that presents issues that we were at last time Baltimore had the first seed, where do you sit Lamar or do you play him? I think they're going to play him now because they paid him. But that's a good problem to have, and I want to see Baltimore. I want to see Baltimore with that first seed, and I want to see Kansas City run the gauntlet and have to come to TD Bank. Or it's not TD Bank, is it? It's one of the banks. I want to see them come to Baltimore and have to play in the wintertime in Baltimore. So that's really all I got for you guys. A real short week. Shout out to the college football playoff. Real quick, I don't watch college like that. I just don't have time. But my personal opinion, without any research, I don't care what your schedule is. I always feel like an undefeated team should always make it over a win-loss team. I just always feel like that because it's like my season didn't matter. You know what I mean? So I don't know. Let me know what you guys think of. I was going to say BCS, but it's not the BCS no more. The college football playoff. Let me know what you think about Kansas City. You think they can get it together? Let me know what y'all think about all these guys I talked about. And let me know if I forgot somebody. And so I'll talk to you guys later. Peace.